One thing that's important, people, please, at home, the team needs to score, not you need to score. If you make that run here, you make the defender take a decision to crush the 6-yard blocks. But because he wants to score, he goes into the...
We are now 3 weeks into the World Cup, and after a rough game against Spain, Ronaldo's Portugal are going home with a disappointing performance. A team that, on paper, had one of the best squads, didn't live up to the hype. There are plenty of reasons why this has been the case. The team's chemistry seemed a bit off, the coaching was bad, and the midfield trio weren't performing at their highest level. All these reasons are perfectly valid. But some people had another opinion on Portugal's bad World Cup, claiming that Ronaldo is the man to blame for Portugal's struggles because he simply made the team worse. In fact, some fans are claiming that Portugal would have reached the final if Ronaldo had stayed on the bench, and that Portugal are the victims of Ronaldo's selfish attitude. And after the loss to Spain, I began to see this more and more. And the more I saw it, the more I began to wonder, is Ronaldo really making Portugal worse, or is it just that Portugal is bad? And this led me to hours of data crunching and analysis to try and uncover the truth about this matter. Portugal versus Congo, a tournament favorite against a team that barely qualified after 3 playoff games. On paper, it was a warm-up game for Portugal. Final result, 1-1. One of the worst performances I saw from a top 5 team at the World Cup. 1 shot on target, 0 big chances created, 0.65 expected goal. It was like Portugal never showed up for the game. Media all over the world blamed Ronaldo. Of course, he had a bad game, but Ronaldo wasn't the only problem in it. We need to take a look at the midfield trio, because 0 big chances created honestly shocked me. Portugal have the best midfield in the world. Bruno Fernandes, a strong candidate for the Premier League's best player this season, with an all-time record of 21 assists. Vitinha and João Neves, the backbone of a PSG team that won back-to-back Champions League titles and ruled Europe for the last 2 years. All of this talent, and they didn't manage to create a single big chance. But before we get to any player stats, look at this chart of shots versus expected goals per shot. Portugal have taken 62 shots this tournament and generated 6.39 expected goals. For example, England took 80 shots and generated 10.59, and Argentina took 57 shots and generated 9.28 expected goals. When we calculate expected goals per shot, the most indicative metric of a team's shot choice, we get 0.103 expected goals per shot for Portugal, compared to England with 0.132, Argentina with 0.163, and finally Norway with the best shot selection in the tournament at 0.174. In fact, Portugal are ranked 11th out of the last 16 teams at the World Cup. Portugal's shot selection and attempts were really not good, and this is important because Ronaldo took nearly 30% of all Portugal's shots at the World Cup. Ronaldo took 18 of Portugal's 62 shots, the 6th most shots taken in the tournament, and scored 2 non-penalty goals with an expected goals efficiency of 1.02, ranked at 154th among all players. But still, this isn't the full picture for Portugal. Ronaldo's performances weren't great, but how do you expect to compete for a World Cup if you're only counting on a 41-year-old striker well past his prime to score your goals, when you have a midfield that isn't capable of getting the ball into the final third? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bruno Fernandes this season had the 2nd best open play chances created in the entire Premier League. He created 0.76 big chances per 90 minutes across 38 games. That's nearly 1 big chance per game. Vitinha, and this is really disappointing for me, was ranked 1st in all of Europe's Big 5 leagues in fields gained and final third entries. The best in Europe at ball progression and getting the ball into the opponent's third. And to not put the blame only on Ronaldo, Bruno, or Vitinha, I think the biggest problem is the coaching staff. Martinez was one of the worst coaches at the World Cup. 3 years to prepare for the tournament with one of the most stacked and talented squads in the world. I'm not saying he should have won it. There's France, England, and Argentina who are playing really well too, but at least Portugal should have been a serious contender. You have players who are breaking football at their clubs. When you have the best player in the Premier League, 2 midfielders from Paris Saint-Germain who won back-to-back Champions Leagues, when you have probably the 2 best fullbacks in Europe right now in Nuno Mendes and João Cancelo, with a solid and experienced centre-back like Ruben Dias. Gonzalo Ramos deserved his chance in the lineup. He was clinical against Croatia and scored the goal that qualified Portugal for the next round. Martinez didn't even sub him in against Spain, not a single minute played. When you have this quality of players, you're not allowed to say, "We played our best game versus Spain." You're not allowed to talk about performances when you play like that against teams far weaker than yours. And by the way, this is the same coach who ruined Belgium's golden generation of Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne. And to wrap it all up, is Ronaldo making Portugal worse? You could say that. But is he really the main problem behind Portugal's bad performances? I don't think so. Football is a team sport, and just as no single player can single-handedly lift a whole team, one player's performance can't be the only reason for a team's bad one. Bad coaching, team synergy, and tactical decisions, if you stack all that up, that's what makes the team worse. Well, unfortunately, this is the last time you'll see Ronaldo at a World Cup. Whether you love him or hate him, he deserves all the respect in the world. Even if he makes Portugal worse, he deserves his last dance. After all, he was the one who made Portugal a big team. In the next days, Martinez will be replaced for sure, and Portugal will bounce back with the right coach. They can be one of the best teams in the world going to the next World Cup. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.